Hello, my name is Cathryn Riley and I'm a prima donna. I'm very excited this week because I'm finally getting my hair cut for the first time in 2020. The other fantastic thing that's happening is, of course, Virtual Prima Donna, which starts today and runs until 5 o'clock on Sunday. We have an amazing array of speakers and we also have lots of interactivity for you to enjoy. So you can make muffins with a bake-off contestant, you can talk with us about Octavia Butler's book on Twitter, you can join live panel discussions via Zoom, and you can even sing ukulele karaoke by the campfire, should you so wish. We're so pleased to be able to bring you our festival this year in a slightly altered format, but we still hope to be able to share the world as it should be with you this weekend. Enjoy.
Hello, my name's Sabeena Akhtar. I'm a writer, editor, programmer and a co-founding prima donna. It's raining where I am, probably where you are, so it's probably a good idea that we're now doing this festival online. And I hope you can join us. Thank you. Bye.
Hello and welcome to Virtual Prima Donna. I'm Cathryn Summerhayes, a prima donna and a literary agent at Curtis Brown. I didn't make it to the festival last year because I was on holiday with my children, but I'm a huge supporter of the festival. I can't wait to be back in real life. But for now, I just want to say there's a lot going on virtually. I'm on holiday at the moment, which is why I look so ridiculous. But you can look forward to me in conversation with Sandi Toksvig. You can look forward to loads of events and advice about what it is to be a writer in the 21st century. Anyway, get out your glow sticks, grab a pint of beer, come down and join us at Virtual Prima Donna, and we look forward to seeing you in a field next year.
Hi, I'm Athena Stevens and welcome to Prima Donna. Only we're not at Prima Donna, we're in my bed. Welcome to my bed. No, that doesn't sound right. Welcome to Prima Donna in my bed. Or maybe your bed. Anyway, it doesn't look like last year, but we made it. We're here. It's going to be a great weekend. I am Athena Stevens, like I said. I am an actor, a writer, a creative entrepreneur, and a prima donna. We've got some incredible stuff lined up, including some of my own things. So check it out. Enjoy this unique and digital festival. And we can't wait to hear what you are watching on social media. Have a great time.
Hello and welcome to Virtual Prima Donna. I'm Monisha Rajesh, a travel writer and journalist, and I'm joining you live from my kitchen, I'm afraid. It's so disappointing to not be able to do Prima Donna again this year in person, but I think you're going to absolutely love the virtual content that we have managed to put together for the next few days. Please do join us across all your social media platforms as we share writing tips, discuss books that we love and talk to some incredible authors, and really just try and recreate the virtual world as it should be for one weekend. Enjoy.
Hello, my name is Jane Dyball and I'm a prima donna. I'm so sorry that we can't welcome you to Suffolk this year, but I do hope that you'll join us virtually. We've put together a programme of events which we hope will be entertaining, informative and inspiring, and we do hope that you will get involved on social media, because what made Prima Donna so special last year was you guys. Thanks for joining us. Have fun. See you soon. Bye.
Hello, Primadonnas, and welcome to Virtual Primadonna. I'm a proud Primadonna, also known as Shola Moshugbamimu. I am so excited about a Primadonna virtual weekend where we'll be celebrating creativity, talking about books we love, sharing writing tips, and having some much needed fun. Heck, I would have won the Primadonna t-shirt, but I can't fit into it anymore. Lockdown weight. Join us from across all the different social media platforms. Let's come together this virtual weekend to really make it count. All you need to do is come with your unapologetic attitude of a prima donna. You ready? Because I am. See you there.
Hello, ladies. Well, I know probably more about what Elissa's up to than what you two are up to. But do you want to tell me a bit about, well, first of all, do you want to tell me a bit about whether you went to the festival last year or how you came to hear about it, and then what has happened since? As you're next to me in the top, Louise, I'll go to you first.
Okay. No pressure. So I heard about the festival just via an online search, and I think whoever did the branding for the Primadonna website, they deserve a huge pay raise, because I love the colours and the whole thing of the website. So I thought, right, I'll book this one. And it was the end of the summer, kind of all the stuff that I was doing. I'd gone to quite a few festivals and things to try and learn as much as I could. And so this is the last one where I was meant to have a bit of fun as well, which was the perfect festival to end on, because it was a lot of fun. I remember it almost a bit as an idyll, the perfect weather and everyone just wandering around being nice to each other and friendly, and gong baths and all that sort of stuff.
Essential part of being an author, I find, bathing with a gong.
I brought it back now. I can't continue my day without a gong bath. So I do that every morning. And then, I mean, like Anita as well, we were both at the pitching surgery, which was one of the little kind of workshops that was dotted around during the weekend. And it was in the Moroccan themed, I don't know what you call it, a snug? Moroccan themed snug, we'll go for that. And we both met one of your lovely Primadonna friends, Lisa Milton, at that one. So do you want me to go into, like,
yeah, go on, you might as well. Tell us your story.
That's my story. So I met Lisa at on the side of a Lido. We sat on the side of the Lido and had a chat. And I had in my sweaty little hand my 3 actors and my pitch, which she liked the sound of. And again, it's very surreal. I can remember that moment so vividly, because it kind of stuck in my head that this woman, who is, you know, incredibly important and experienced and amazing as she is, was interested. So we swapped emails and got in contact. And then obviously there's a lot of work after the festival. That's just the start, really. But that's how I got in contact with Lisa. And I think, Anita, yours is a similar story.
Yeah, I'll ask you a bit more about your book in a minute, Louise, although I know quite a lot about it, obviously. But I will, yeah, Anita, go on. You're underneath me, but I will ask you your story now.
Okay. Yeah, I heard about the Primadonna Festival from a friend, and we actually both booked, but she ended up not going. And I loved the idea of it being a really family-friendly festival. It was the end of the summer holidays. I've got 3 kids, and we, I just loved the children's program as well, as much as the adults program. I thought that was brilliant, and actually it turned out to be really, really good. The entire family really, really enjoyed it. We sort of hung it on at the end of our holiday in Norfolk. We had a camping holiday, so we'd been camping for 2 weeks already. And it was like the end of that. It just felt really nice. Civilized toilets, really nice toilets.
I hear, yeah, the toilets were award-winning, I believe.
We had music in
the toilet land.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and what happened is, yeah, similar to Louise, I just happened to be there when Lisa did her surgery, and I had in my sweaty little hands 3 pages of not even a manuscript. I'd written retellings of 12 fairy tales that are very, very short and from a feminist perspective. And I was going to read them to make Sinead laugh. It was the Sinead Laugh event at the festival. And that's why I had them with me. And I just thought I might as well ask this publishing person. I didn't even know who Lisa was. I had no idea. Just thought I'll ask her, because I was really keen to get these stories out into the world, because I thought they need to get out there, but I don't know how. You know, how can I make this into a concept that will work and sell and sort of, you know, be of interest to a publisher? And so I just sat down with her and showed them to her. And it was that moment of, you know, that crazy writer's dream moment where the editor goes like, oh my God, I love this. And I was like, no, you're joking. And she said, no, I'm not. And then she wrote an email address into my notebook, my little notebook, and, you know, the sort of hot Collins email address. And I was like, what is happening here? And she said, you know, send me an email with this and we'll make this happen. We'll make this work some way or other. And that's what happened. So we worked really, really fast, actually. One of her editors then worked with me from October to December on the project, and we developed it into a concept, into a gift book, basically, into sort of humor gift book from a feminist angle, and retelling sort of, you know, children's classics from a feminist perspective. And that's what happened. So I wrote the entire thing. By January we'd written it, and then by February we had an illustrator, because it's highly illustrated. And I think the illustrator finished last week, and it went off to the printers, and it's coming out in October. So yeah.
Wow, speedy.
Super speedy. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I'll ask you a bit more about it in a minute. So Elissa, your story is slightly different and your relationship to Primadonna, but do you want to tell us a bit about you and it?
So I also came across Primadonna online. I liked the theme. I liked the ethos of the competition as well, that it was directed at women and it was to try and give women more of a voice. So I entered it with, I guess, no real expectations, and was just thrilled to be on the long list, absolutely delighted. And then found myself on the short list, and then won. So most unexpectedly, I have to say, but brilliant experience.
Thoroughly deserved. You had a great judging panel, I hear. And do you want to tell us kind of a bit about what you were writing and sort of where you are with it now?
Yes, so I sent in for the shortlist. I sent in an extract from a novel called Ginger and Me, which is the story of two young working class women. Wendy, who's a bus driver who also wants to be a writer, and she makes friends with a girl called Ginger. I would say the heart of the story is really the friendship between those two young women, but we're told the story from Wendy's point of view, and Wendy focuses on a relationship that she thinks she has with a successful author called Diane. But we, the reader, can see that, you know, no such relationship exists, and the sort of the bittersweet or funny stroke sad parts of the novel are you know, really to do with Wendy's misconceptions of what's actually happening.
It's very good, I can tell you that now. So I can tell you where.
Thank you.
So I was part of the prize and one of the judges. And so where we currently are with Ginger and Me is that you've done one draft, which we've had some exceptional notes from a publisher who's very close to all our hearts, because she works with Lisa Milton too, who's a bit of a hero here. Did a fantastic second pass. They were brilliant notes, weren't they, I have to say.
Oh, absolutely. I really used it as a sort of a roadmap for where to go next. I think just having an objective pair of eyes, clearly a very experienced pair of eyes as well, just to say, you point out things that I certainly hadn't noticed. And if I can just say as well about Primadonna, one of the other things that was great about it was meeting the other shortlisted writers.
Yeah, you've got a proper gang, haven't you? I know, I love it.
Listen, one of the girls, Claire Mannion, I also let her read my draft after I'd finished it, and she gave me just such great feedback. And it's feedback that, you know, if you gave it to one of your own friends who weren't writers, I don't know about you guys, but the kind of feedback I get is, oh, brilliant,
amazing,
so many
the
words,
best thing I've ever
so many
read.
words, fantastic, nothing to do, you know, which is nice, but it's not helpful at all. Whereas somebody like Claire, who, you know, I just wouldn't have met hadn't been for Primadonna, she was able to tell me things from a writer's point of view, and I just find that so helpful. And that, you know, that sort of community of writers that we've been able to have now since Primadonna, I think that's a real benefit, as well as you being the prize, Cathryn, but also, you know, meeting other writers like that, it's just been fantastic for me.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said for meeting a group of like-minded people, whether they're writers or just women or feminists or whoever. And obviously the festival kind of brings all that together, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
But yeah, so where Elissa is now is she took all that on board, all the notes, all the workshopping. So in fairness to the editor who worked so hard on it, it's gone back to her in the last couple of weeks. So she is now reading again. So we are crossing fingers.
Everything.
But if not, it will go out into the wide world of publishing. So it will be, you know, I mean, publishing is fast in your case, Anita, slower in Elissa's case. But I think, you know, I'm pretty confident we will see a published book, perhaps in time for next year's Primadonna, when we'll all be back in a field, basically. But who knows? Gong bath, yeah, exactly, in a gong bath, or in a sauna. So why do you think it's important that we have a festival that does have kind of such specific aims and is for a quite specific audience? Does anyone want to just jump in on that one?
Well, I think I touched on it already, that it's about making women feel that it's fine to tell our stories. It's a good thing. You know, there's place for our stories. Not that, I mean, I read plenty of male authors, plenty. You know, I've read enough probably now. And I'm looking to hear some stories from women. And I think that the Primadonna Festival makes you feel anyway that the literary world and the publishing world, it is more accessible. It's accessible for women, and why shouldn't it be? Why shouldn't our stories be out there in the same way that male writers explore their interior worlds? So should women. And you know, I think it's a sort of a rolling stone effect, and the more we hear from you know, women of colour, disabled women, the more these stories are out there, the more stories we'll have. And I think that Primadonna played a really important role, certainly for me, and I suspect for many women that were involved in the festival, in changing their perceptions about how important our writing and our stories are.
Yeah, I think you're right. It was amazing to us as a kind of founder Primadonna, how very quickly it became a thing, and you suddenly realize, you know, and all the people, you know, whether it's Kit Dyball or Sandi Toksvig or Kath Mayer, etc., who were like, oh my god, I'm doing, you know, this is the one, this is the festival for me. And I think it is testament to the fact that, you know, we need to be, it's amazing that I'm saying this in the 21st century, but that we aren't being still, as women or as people from different backgrounds, being given enough opportunity to, you know, it's going to be interesting tomorrow. It's the Booker Prize long list gets announced tomorrow, and will that list show this shift? Will it show that, you know, there are more great female literary writers, there are more great writers from diverse backgrounds, or will we see, you know, Rushdie and Amos and McEwan still there, and what can we do about it? It's, you know, so yes, I've you know, I think the Primadonna ethos is amazing, and it's a sisterhood. And I think, you know, if you go back, you know, to times of trouble, whether it's World War II, World War I, whatever, you know, suffragettes, etc., we still need that solidarity, I think. And I think it's interesting, we have got male prima donnas. I mean, I think we mustn't exclude the fact that there are men who want to be there partly because they support, you know, they're feminists themselves. But no, it has been very interesting how it's very quickly got into the public consciousness as this kind of movement.
My husband actually came with me my husband was with me in the festival and he loved it. He saw it, it was really good experience for him. I remember looking the one time, I think it was when Sandi Toksvig and Jude were speaking in the big in the bar, it wasn't called the bar, in the main stage. And I remember looking over at Jason amongst this kind of sea of women, and he was having such a great time. He loved it. It was inclusive for men, I think, as well. I think it was, and I'd like to pick up on Alyssa's point as well, because it was the idea of demystifying the publishing industry a little bit. It's quite it's a scary prospect when you don't have any kind of connections, or you're coming from maybe a more working class background as well, to try and think that, well, I could be a writer. You think, well, I don't know anyone, I can't be a writer, I can't get into this world. And to have that world kind of opened up for you in such a friendly and inclusive way was really important.
Yeah, I think it's been very important to us that we've asked what our followers want. So, you know, if they want, I mean, I think it's deadly boring, me talking about publishing and being an agent, but, you know, actually we've realized that, yes, it's wonderful to have these amazing kind of celebrity speakers, from Connie Huck to Sandy to, you know, fantastic novelists, fantastic activists, etc. But actually we did feel that people really benefited from the grassroots stuff, because it's always been, I mean, Lisa Milton is the same, like a real barrier breaker downer, if that's the phrase. But, you know, it isn't, or it shouldn't be, a kind of mystical language publishing. We we need authors as much as authors need support from their publishers and agents. So for it, you know, those panels and stuff have been as good a thing for us, because actually you've not been afraid then to thrust your manuscript into our hands or ask our advice, or, you know, and it is astonishing that is something that we're only now beginning to understand. But I think it is partly because, I'm going to say this now, but I mean, I think the, you know, old school agents were men in suits who had 4-hour lunches and, you know, called people young filly and, oh, well, you've written a book, you clever darling. And now we're not that. We are, you know, working class Welsh girl in my case. You know, I think it is a different place, you know, it's a different career now, and actually it's earned rather than kind of privilege. So hopefully we can break down the barriers even more. Totally. Now, I'm aware, Louise, that I haven't talked to you about your book, because I know about it, because I gave Louise some advice too. So tell us, because I feel terrible. We know about Alyssa's, we know about Anita's, we don't know about yours, and everyone needs to rush out and buy all of them, obviously. So tell us.
I ended up writing, and this is more of a shock to me than to anyone else, I ended up writing a thriller, which I never thought that would kind of come out of me. But I did. I ended up writing a speculative thriller. So it's about an insomniac woman who has reached the end of her tether, and she is accepted onto a sleep technology trial. And of course, everything goes terribly wrong, and she has to stay awake in order to stay alive. So that's the kind of hook, basically. But it's more than that, because I think coming at it from maybe a female perspective as well, and it's turned into a bit of an action thriller, which is often quite a male-dominated genre when you think of those kind of books. Actually, my characters are, you know, a woman in her late 60s who's Vivian, and Thea, who is younger, obviously, but they kind of just bumble their way along, and they save themselves and they work it out for themselves, and it's kind of a very female action thriller story. So
good. We all need more of those.
I think
That sounds fab.
Tell us the title.
It is called Sleepless.
And tell us when it's coming out.
It's coming out on the 11th of December with HQ, and it's an ebook. So it's a digital imprint. So it will be out for your Kindles and via, you know, the ebook distribution services that I may not want to mention the name of, and it will be available on the 11th of December.
Very exciting, very nice Christmas for everybody, hopefully, or a very scary Christmas for everybody. So ladies, so next year, when we're all back in the field, how confident would you feel about sitting on a panel and telling everybody about yourself? Because I mean, this is partly what I think Prima Donna's about. If we think of it as a kind of training ground for people who, you know, want to be writers or want to be better feminists or better activists, or, you know, so it's kind of going to be over to you next year, because people are sick to death of hearing from me, I think. But yeah, is that something you do you think?
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Yeah, I would.
I was a teacher, so I'm used to the sound of my own voice. I don't even care if people are listening. I'll just carry on talking.
Actually, one of the things I found quite surprising about having any, you know, sort of little success that I've had so far is that so much is required of you in terms of being a public performer. You know, you think more of it, for me as a writer, you know, sort of stuck in my room, which I enjoy, at my keyboard. So having to do these things, I mean, even this, you know, I think it does take a bit of you have to sort of get your head around it and say, right, no, okay, it's fine, I can do it. And I'm not a particularly shy person. It's just, I think it is quite difficult to get up and say, this is what I'm writing about. I love it. I hope you do. You know, it's a sort of a whole different skill or talent that's required from writing the thing. And I think I found that quite surprising.
I think it's something that it didn't matter even a dozen years ago. Authors, you didn't know what they looked like, you didn't know where they came from, you know, and actually obviously social media has either not helped or helped that, and made authors become public figures in a way that actually quite a lot of the big ones, you know, the Hilary Mantels and Margaret Atwoods have been quite outspoken about the fact that, you know, if you want to get to know them, read their books. And but I think increasingly people want to know, I mean, and increasingly because of things like Zoom in lockdown, people want to know what the contents of your bookshelf are, you know, or what your house is like, or whether you accidentally live in a sauna, or, you know, all these things. And I mean, I have to say, Elissa, I'm still going to ask you this question. Is it still your first Zoom? Are you a Zoom virgin today?
This is my first Zoom, and I'm glad.
That's blown my mind.
I'm glad that you mentioned books, because somebody told me I had to have books in the background. So even though my bookshelf is over here, I've put a little pile here, but I realise I've done it all wrong because you can't see them. So I'll have to sort of go like this.
I quite like it.
I was thinking, Elissa, she's read all the books about how to do Zoom meetings.
I just telling you.
If you have a protected file, just bring them in.
I just don't know.
Live lockdown, Elissa. Yeah, without Zoom.
Probably a lot more happily than we did, to be honest. I hate Zoom.
Yeah, me too.
I see more of my own face during the last couple of months than I'm used to, or that I like.
It's hilarious that you, I mean, I would love to not have ever used Zoom, to be honest, Elissa, so good on you. But
I can say it's a bit easier than I was expecting it to be. I thought I was going to see my own face hugely on the screen, which I wasn't looking forward to, but actually you're seeing the person that you're speaking to, so I think that makes it a bit easier.
You're doing that, so I can see you all in a 4 square, you see.
Yeah, I've got a 4 square.
We've got all the different, there's lots of different setups.
You see, now
don't start playing with it now. Something terrible will happen.
I don't know what I'm doing, actually.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you one of the most difficult questions of all that I think it's important to ask prima donnas. What have you been reading during lockdown, and what would you recommend that we should be reading now? Go on, Louise, I'll go to you first.
I have literally just last night finished The Starless Sea, which is by Erin Morgenstern. Which is
it's massive. I love the first one, The Night Circus.
I loved it as well. This one is great. I think maybe reading it in lockdown only in the evenings just before you go to sleep probably wasn't the best way to read. I think you need to take big chunks of it at a time, not little bits over a longer period. But it was amazing, and the writing is just fantastic, and the character and the world is fantastic. You know, everything is. It's almost a theatre set that you can imagine in your mind. It is amazing. And something that I've already bullied Elissa into reading Wild.
I'm easily bullied.
Only tag teamed you in the end on Twitter. I'm so sorry. Which is Wild by Eloise Williams, who's the Children's Laureate of Wales. Fantastic writing, amazing story. It is a kid's book, but I read it and I loved it. The writing is just so deft. And she creates brilliant characters. And there is a Tom Jones alarm clock, which wakes you up by going,
what's not to like? Thank you. Two very different recommendations. We'll have to try and get both of them to, although Erin is obviously on the other side of the pond and who knows when travel will resume. But yes, two good recommendations for next year's festival. How about you, Anita?
I actually struggled quite a lot with reading during lockdown, which is really weird because I usually read all the time. But the few things that I have read is I've just finished reading The Wild Way Home by Sophie Kirtley, which is a middle grade children's book that's just come out. And that was lovely, a really nice escapism. It's about a little boy who gets lost in the Stone Age, a modern boy who gets lost in the Stone Age. And then has to find his way home again. And because I read a lot of children's books because I'm a children's book author normally, except when I write things like The Princess and the Prick, in which case I become an adult author. Slightly confusing. The other book, I have just started reading Bernardine Evaristo finally, because I've been looking forward to that for months, because I read The Emperor's Babe, which I can thoroughly recommend. I loved that book. I read that years ago, and I was so happy to see her win all these prizes, because when I first came across her was in Geneva at a writers' conference, and yeah, she had just published The Emperor's Babe then, and I'm just so glad she has all this success. So I've just started reading Girl, Woman or Other, and it's brilliant. It's going to be wonderful. I'm so looking forward to it, and I sort of feel like now I can read again somehow. I've gotten past the reader's block that I've had. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, I think we've all had it. Even I've struggled to read fiction, and I'm an agent. I mean, it's, I just feel like your brains were so full of the news and needing to consume that trying to escape into other worlds was impossible. But anyway, sorry, Elissa, it's your turn. I've interrupted.
Well, I actually haven't had any trouble reading. Maybe it's because I'm not on Zoom.
You're not on Zoom. You are like, we've learned from you. We're going to get you to the panel on avoiding all forms of video conferencing.
No communication. It's the way to go. So I've read loads during lockdown, and I was nodding at Girl, Women, Other. That's got to be one of my absolute favourites that I've read recently. Also absolutely loved An American Marriage by Tayari Jones. I think maybe my favourite book this year, in fact. And I don't know if you'll have heard, there's a new young Scottish writer called Graham Armstrong. He's written a book called The Young Team, and it's like basically a sort of coming of age story of a young working class male, and it's absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I really enjoyed it. The only thing I would say, it's written in Scottish dialect, which even I struggled slightly to get into the rhythm of. So I don't know how you guys would fare, but I certainly would recommend it.
Brilliant. Well, I better do my recommendations. And obviously the only things I've read are by my own authors, so I have to give them a plug. But no, I think everybody needs to read Outraged by Dottie Charles. She was a Radio 1 Extra DJ. She's an amazingly outspoken kind of feminist activist. She's gay, married. She's got a 2-year-old baby and another baby on the way. And she has written a book, Outraged, which is basically about how we seem to be outraged about everything these days, and how we need to better understand the difference between being a little bit annoyed and actually being outraged. So it opens with a Guardian story. She wrote a piece for the Guardian about the H&M campaign, which had a little black child with a t-shirt on that had a monkey on it. And Twitter exploded because they said it was racist, and she's a black woman, and she was watching it and she was like, I don't feel that outraged about this, and am I not a feminist? Am I not a black person? I just don't understand it. And so it got her into thinking about how we need to channel our outrage properly. and that obviously there are these amazing people who literally capitalize on outrage. I mean, Trump is the case in point, but like Katie Hopkins, and actually, is that good for us? And is social media, obviously, because it's so easy to be furious all the time, actually just meaning we're not channeling our proper anger in the right things. And then on the flip of that, a very gentle, lovely book by an amazing 16-year-old boy who was 13 when he wrote it. He's called Dara McAnulty, and it's called The Diary of a Young Naturalist.
Oh, yeah.
And you might have seen him on programs like Country File. Anyway, he is very autistic, and he feels incredibly at home in nature, but suffers from social anxiety around people. And he is the most beautiful writer. He's a genius. I've never read anything like it. And he's going to be a superstar. So he's taking a little bit of a break to do his A-levels. But yeah, he's a wonder, and somebody I think who would be a marvellous prima donna. And I work closely with him and his mum. But yes, I think there's a lot of amazing stuff out there. I think, interestingly, there's a lot of amazing non-fiction out there that's coming out of lockdown, because people want to better understand the world. So my final question, I guess, because I'm going to get shouted at now by Cathryn Riley, is what do you think the three qualities, come on, hard question, of or what best kind of reflects, what three qualities do you need to have to be a prima donna? And you're going to be quoted on all the publicity in years to come. No, you won't. Go on, no pressure. I'm going to go to Elissa first this time, because she's got away with it before.
Supportive. So supportive of your fellow writers and your fellow women. And that's one thing that the prima donna shortlisted writers, I'm telling you, in a WhatsApp group, so supportive of each other. And that's been fantastic. So supportive. Kind. I just think you have to be a kind person as best you can. And Louise, you were saying you found the festival a really friendly place. And I think that's because people were there to be, we were all the same mindset. We were all there to go have a good time, learn about writers we didn't know about, hopefully share our own writing. But everybody was just kind, and I shouldn't say this, but nice. You know, I was there with a friend, but honestly, I think it would have been fine to go on your own, because everybody was so nice and kind. So I'm taking up too much time. That's two words: supportive, kind, obviously phenomenally talented.
Perfect. I'll give you that extra word. Go on, Anita.
Three qualities of prima donna. I think it's important to want to, maybe that sounds a bit grand, but to want to change the world in some way or other. To have a mission with why you, to kind of know, to be aware of why you write, why you want to be there or be at the festival. Perseverance, to sort of not give up ever, and to take every opportunity you can possibly get to, try and move forward. And I love Elissa's point of supportive, because the writers community, I don't know, it's like, for me, when I started writing and started going to writers conferences, it was like, wow, this is where all these people have been hiding. This is my home. This is where everybody is that I've been seeking all my life. Yeah, so it's a really powerful and supportive community. And yeah, I think I would second. I would cut that out.
Would second it.
I would also say support. Second. I would second support. Supportive, definitely, and kindness. Yeah.
Thank you. And Louise, finally.
Well, you've used all the good words. Darn you, writers. So I would go for sense of humour. I think you still have to not take everything so incredibly seriously, and have fun and relax a little bit as well, because you're all in a safe space and in a lovely place, and enjoy it, basically. So sense of humour, which is more than one word, I am aware of that. Humour, I'll go for humour. To be attentive in terms of listen to what advice is given to you, and listen to it carefully. try not to be, I know it's really hard when you're writing something, because it's like taking out your own, beating heart, and offering it to somebody, but to listen to what people are, especially people in positions of experience, and who are very clever at what they do, what they're telling you, and why they're telling you it, and to act upon it as much as you can, because they're telling you that for a reason, to help you. And then finally, I guess I go for warm and welcoming to everyone, which is what the Primadonna Festival was. It was just a massive, great hug in a field.
I think we'll go with a hug in a field. I can see that on all the advertising next year. Well, look, ladies, we all know it's coming up this weekend, so I hope you'll be tuning in to some of the live debates and all the pre-records and everything, and we will all cross all our fingers that we will all meet in a field again this time next year, although it is pouring down at the moment, so that it would be sunny and warm and like a hug in a field. I'm going to say bye-bye, but thank you so much for being here today, and I look forward to seeing you all on the weekend. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Hello, I'm Waal. I'm a prima donna. We're so sorry we can't bring you a live Primadonna festival this year, but please do join us this weekend for a virtual world of fun, great ideas, great events, and the world as it should be for one weekend. Join in, be a prima donna, and I'll see you there. Bye.
Hello, my name is Joanna Baker. Welcome to Virtual Primadonna. I'm based up in Edinburgh, and I've worked in and around Edinburgh's festivals for the past nearly 30 years. Primadonna may be a new kid on the festival block, but we certainly pack a big punch. I hope you have a really fantastic time at this year's Virtual Primadonna, and very much look forward to seeing you all in person next year.
Hello, I'm Shona. I'm Associate Director with Ed Public Relations. I'm also a very proud prima donna, and I am here to tell you that you must come and join us this weekend. Come and be creative, have fun. Let's have the virtual world as it should be for one weekend, until we all meet again next year at the proper Prima Donna Festival. Look forward to seeing you, and you can be a prima donna too.
Hello, my name is Cathryn Mayer. I'm an author, journalist, co-founder of the Women's Equality Party and of Primadonna Festival, and I'm a total prima donna. I am here to welcome you to the virtual festival this year. It's such a shame that we can't do it in person like we did last year, and as we will do next year, but we've got so much good stuff lined up for you. So tune in, turn on, and be total prima donnas too for the whole weekend.
Hi, I'm Lisa Milton. I'm the exec publisher for HQ and Mills and Boon at HarperCollins UK, and I'm a prima donna. I'm really sorry we can't have our Prima Donna Festival together this year. Last year is still one of my highlights, not just of the year, but probably of the last decade. We did extraordinary things, and I know this weekend we're going to share extraordinary experiences again. So please join us, have fun, and let us know what you think. We'll see you on the other side.
Hello and welcome to Virtual Primadonna. I'm Sandi Toksvig and I am a proud prima donna. It's not something I ever thought I'd say. Join us this weekend as we share thoughts, celebrate creativity, have some fun and create the virtual world as it should be for one weekend. Why not be a prima donna too?